of communication. I don't think that in a short while we'll be seeing much regulation on the media, because that would be felt as invasion of privacy of people. People are electing, and you have the same issue, you know, today, I mean, your kids can reach, you know, sex or pornography, and there's a lot of things out there, and you just need to teach them. And also in the world, and we see these in direct selling every day, I mean, there's people that are immoral, but there's other people that are amoral. They don't know the difference between black and white. And also there's a lot of good people that will always react in a good manner. And we try to weed out the amoral people. We try to rule so that the people that are immoral become moral, or at least respect the rules. And of course, we try to make the good people thrive in our systems. And through recognition, through all of our incentive programs, we try to attract the good kind of people. And I think that's also going to happen with social media. Of course, you're going to have, you know, the black sheep always, but I think that people will disregard those kind of comments, you know, eventually. Excuse me, there's a question. Yes, Rodolfo.
Yeah, Robbie. Perhaps I didn't get the whole question or the back and forth, but if the question is specifically with respect to the companies and things that go on social media or any other means that, about disparagement and what can be done about it, I'm not sure this is a regulatory issue. These are just different channels of communication that are obviously new technologies. The same legal standards, they vary by jurisdiction, remain. In other words, if false statements are made or disparaging comments are made that are not substantiated, they're no different than anything that's been unprinted or otherwise, which means there's legal recourse depending on the jurisdiction. So I don't really think, by and large, there is a need for regulation or any type of limitation on what can be said through social or other media, when there's absolutely the same legal recourse has always been, and obviously it varies by jurisdiction, to address those disparagements.
Thank you very much. Joe?
I have a question, but also...
Okay. He needs the microphone, please.
I would say this, in any case. Your answer, Robbie, is absolutely correct as well. The value of social media, it seems to me, in that communications vehicle is in its sincerity and genuineness. And since we have 70 million plus people across the globe, if we're delivering a value and a good customer experience to them as salespeople and as customers, then that message will, I hope, and I would expect, overwhelm any of the negative messages or the conscious disparagement that we're talking about, whether it be one company or another. But my question on a different subject, and I particularly would ask the direct sellers on the panel, but also our friends from outside the industry, and I should have asked this yesterday of our CEOs. Given the prevalence of this technology and the use of the technology and its expansion and growth even within direct selling, we talked many years ago when the internet began about that being perhaps a negative development for direct selling. And of course that didn't happen. While this new technology may not destroy direct selling, it may revolutionize us completely. And my question is, to what extent do we see the person-to-person, the face-to-face component of direct selling being maintained and being our major identity and our fundamental identity? Or is that going to disappear while still maintaining this personal touch that has been a part of us? Mike?
Well, like I said before, we are a people business and we're always going to be a people business. So it's not here to replace how direct selling companies have been working. It's here to expand the possibilities of establishing connections and meet people you might not have met because you don't have the geographical obstacles anymore. So I might be joining a special kind of group on Facebook. I'm a mountain biker. I might meet another mountain biker on Facebook, a person whom I would have never met, and perhaps through meeting in the social media space or area, sphere, we can then enter a conversation and then establish also a connection and an agreement from on a business perspective. But that then means that the final interaction and the final delivery of a parcel or the final talking, convincing me or inviting me into the business opportunity is still something that's going to happen on the offline world. So the final end call to action is always going to be people talking to each other and people handing parcels and products to each other. So I think that the social media is not here to replace, it's just expanding our reach.
Rick will also make a comment on this point, Joe.
You know, one of the things that I said earlier on is that from a trends perspective, trends can jump between different industries. You know, something that starts out as a trend in food can influence how people shop for clothing. And I would say that people talked about in music that digital would be the death of the music industry. And that was a widely held belief. But the reality is that there's been a recalibration, particularly in live music, and this is very interesting when I come back to generations, young and old. When you talk to the old guys who had to buy their music physically, they would still say, yeah, but to really understand the Beatles, you had to be there. You had to go to Shea Stadium or the Cave in Liverpool and actually see them. Young people today are saying the same thing. Even though it's easier than ever to get hold of music, there is still a cachet. The pinnacle of following a band is to actually go see them. That has become the premium experience within music, despite digital. So I would challenge the industry and say, if you want to keep the face-to-face the key part of your business, then that face-to-face occasion has to really earn its weight. It has to be the pinnacle of the bringing together of the brand or the consultant with the consumer. So I would say that the opportunity of digital, with whether it's social media or any other technology that comes along, that's a great enabler, but it's your responsibility to keep your trump card relevant to your consumers and enshrine that face-to-face engagement as being the experience between the consumer and the brand.
And Joe, to add to your question, I think it will depend very much on the different approaches direct selling companies have. I think it's going to be different for MLMs or party plant companies or door-to-door. But at the end of the day, this technology is going to be an enabler. Like, for instance, some companies are already working in a frequent customer program where the customer can reach directly the company, but the sales rep will get credit and will get news that the customer is already buying directly. You may be buying at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, on the internet, but next day your sales rep is going to know that you bought. So she or he may send a message, you know, thank you, I hope you like the product, please share the experience. So this is just enabling, but it will never cut the line between the sales reps. And I think that we will be inviting more people to connect. And as if people like the product and they like the community, they will join in and it'll grow. Now, if they have bad experience, they'll probably shy away. So that's where we have to be careful on how we're monitoring all these processes. But as I said before, people are competing for time and where to put the money. And if they have a good experience and they can save time and get a better value, that's the way they will go. And as direct sellers, what we need to do is to expose more people to our companies, to our products, and never forget that we have to demonstrate our products. It's very difficult to sell cold. There's one more question. I think we're running out of time.
As direct sellers, our customers are our independent business owners, our distributors. So the ultimate consumer, the purchaser of the product, is technically the customer of the independent business owner, of the distributor. So this great technology that we just saw provides unprecedented access to consumer data. And so I think that provides profound consequences on two fronts: the relationships between the distributors and the consumer and the company in managing that, and then technical, legal, and tax. What are the best practices as it relates to now that we have this unprecedented access to consumer data? How are the companies addressing that?
Who do you like to answer the question?
Whoever wants to answer.
I think that there's many approaches, because actually we're all learning about all these trends and technologies, and it depends on the resources of the companies. I think Amway has probably been one of the companies that has been really ahead of the bunch, investing in technology and in using different systems. But I think there's a lot of trial and error, and actually, there's so much you can do, and there's a lot of funding behind it. So I don't think there's a unique approach.
Yeah, I think it's too early to say that there's best practices already, because, I mean, this is just really emerging, and it might have emerged in a different space, and direct selling is just slowly beginning to adopt it. So we are collecting lots of data to see where basically the traffic is coming from social media, and we're trying to put clickstream analysis behind that to see how the people are actually navigating behind it. But it's really too early to say that that's the best practice and this is how you should do it.
Can I add one comment about collecting information as well? Traditionally, even though systems are improving, product information, the items that people are buying, traditionally is still pushed down to consumers. Manufacturers provide it to distributors, distributors push it down. There's more and more data being available. The biggest opportunity I see for social media is the opportunity for the consumers to push information up, back into the chain. And this is the area that businesses are not embracing. They should be. So a great example, what could be a better advert for how reliable or the lifetime of my car than consumers putting online photos of how great my car looks after 20 years or 30 years. Yeah? That shows the longevity of a product. People trust that because it's coming from a consumer. It's not a glossy photo. Everything looks perfect in your catalogs because it's all shiny new. What about how long it lasts? What about the things that, you look at people when they treasure products, they treasure them because they're old. My life is in that product. I would advise you to use social media to grab that data, to encourage people to upload that data and celebrate your product, celebrate your brand. It's bringing together what you have pushing down the chain, but also capture that data that's coming up. I think that's a business advantage for you.
One comment. This is a really great point because I believe that you can use also social media for R&D. You want to ask your people out there, what can we do better with our products? Please give us the feedback. And you're going to get it right from the people using it and not from some test groups. So I think that that's another point where social media can be a fantastic facilitator to improve your own products and services.
Is there any other question in the audience? Yes.
Son soruyu ben soracağım Türkçe. Teşekkür ederim. Şimdi bu sunumlardan anlıyoruz ki gerçekten sosyal medya çok hızlı bir şekilde genişliyor. Dünya nüfusunun yarısı, belki yarısından da fazlası 30 yaşın altında. Ve bu insanlar artık internet ortamına doğuyor. Bu sosyal paylaşım siteleri hızla genişliyor. Yine anladığımız kadarıyla bu doğrudan satış, bu sosyal paylaşım sitelerini yani social medyayı kullanıyor. Acaba yani bu bir distribütörlük sistemi, bir aracılık sistemi olan bu doğrudan satışın sonunu bu getirebilir mi? Yani sosyal medya firmalar doğrudan aracı şirketleri doğrudan satışı devre dışı bırakıp müşterilere doğrudan kendileri satış yapabilir mi? Bu uygulama ileride doğrudan satışı tasfiye edebilir mi? Sonuna getirebilir mi? O konuda ne düşünüyorsunuz? Böyle bir tehlike var mı?
Ben bir başlangıç yapmak istiyorum aslında sadece. Sonra hani bu konuda daha uzman kişiler var, özellikle direkt satış